University head coach Tom Shaw. Welcome to the club, Tom.
Thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, great to be given this opportunity, and really appreciate that. Thank you.
Just want to take this opportunity to get to know you, really, find out a little bit about you, your background, your history, and then go on to what you want to bring to the football club. So if you can just start off with giving us a little bit of a feel for Tom Shaw, the person.
Yeah, so born and raised in Nottingham. Grew up near the city. Was a young player at Nottingham Forest Football Club. Went on to be really fortunate and have an honest playing career in the lower leagues. Gone into the world of coaching now, and now head coach and management. So enjoyed most of my life in football. Married, 3 children, 3 little girls, one 6-year-old and 2 really young ones. So the house is full of fun and mainly ballet, to be honest, and dancing. So plenty going on at home. Yeah, that's pretty much all to tell.
So a family man with lots of time for football.
Yeah. Interesting combination sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, you've got a varied career playing at a few different clubs within the non-league setup and lower leagues. Are you looking to bring that sort of experience into the club?
Yeah, I've played nearly 500 games as a player, which I'm pretty proud of, and that I started off in leaving Nottingham Forest as a young player. Went to Rushden and Diamonds in League One at the time. Very fortunate to do my apprentice there at a brilliant facility. That club's now unfortunately gone bust, and the ground's flattened, which is pretty sad. But I have some great memories of that place as a young player, and managed to break through into the first team there. Went on to some other really good clubs. Enjoyed some good successful spells at Cambridge United and Chester towards the end of my career, where I really enjoyed myself and had a great affinity with the fans and the staff there. So picked up some brilliant experiences. Very, very lucky to have played under some top managers who had very varying styles, very different ways of going about their business, but I've definitely taken some good bits, maybe not so good bits off some of them along the way, and been lucky as a coach as well to be around some top people. So been fortunate to have been exposed to some great times, great experience, great learning opportunities along the way. We'll definitely be taking that into my new role at Gainsborough.
Yeah, it's all about taking little bits from everyone, really, isn't it? And just if you can take a little piece from everybody, good or bad, and put it into your own practice, it's only going to make you better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've picked up loads along the way, but I think it's important that I'm really true to myself. I won't try to put an act on it all in this job. I'll be who I am as a man, and I won't try to and kid anyone at any stage. But I've definitely taken little bits, and it will be my version of that. I think that I look to bring to the new job.
You've gone into coaching, like you said. You're at Nottingham University as head of football. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of my roles over at Nottingham Trent. I started it just at the back end of my playing career. Well, I did it part-time whilst I was doing my A and B licence badges. Brilliant environment to learn to coach. You've got 150 male players to look after. You've got loads of staff. There's the female programme, the futsal programme. So loads of management of people. And we've been really successful over there. So from the outside, the university football world is no one really knows much about it, but when you're in it, it's huge. We're in the same league as Loughborough, Stirling, Durham, Birmingham, some top institutions, and we've done really well. We've managed to win the top league, which is probably the smallest university in the top league. It was a big success a few years ago. It's been a really good breeding ground for some good coaches who've gone on, and I've really enjoyed it to this point, and I'll be continuing with that role and learning all the time.
Possibly tapping into that sort of group of players.
Yeah, for sure. It's an untapped market. There's some really talented boys. Pretty much all of the performance football universities, it's full of lads who've been in the professional game, fallen out of it at 18 or 20 after a first or second year pro contract. Takes a certain type of young man to obviously go to university, and they're pretty switched on, and they they're looking at two careers, a dual career situation. But I would be foolish to not look into that and use my contacts within the university football world to try and find some players within the region. And there's definitely some talented boys out there.
Looking at the Mikolova model in our league, they've done something similar with the Derby uni and John McGrath with what he's been doing.
Yeah, so John McGrath's an ex-teammate of mine and a good pal and a good friend. He won't be when we play them, but he is most of the time. And yeah, I've spoken to him quite a bit. We've played Derby University in a few cup matches and stuff along the way. So I know how he set it up there, and he's found some good players. And your recruitment can stretch a little bit further afield with lads coming to the universities from obviously all over the place.
Yeah, something that can be quite exciting for fans to look forward to, maybe.
Yeah, there'll be some young and hungry, ambitious footballers at the unis that will hopefully be, if good enough, will be coming along.
Brilliant. And did that open the doors for Lincoln City in terms of the under-18 job?
Yeah, so I was at Tamworth right at the back end of my playing career. I'd gone part-time, and the director of football, Jez George, who was a manager of mine at Cambridge, got in touch. I knew the Cowleys from playing against their Braintree and Lincoln teams, and they invited me over to have a chat about the under-18 job at Lincoln, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. It's been a real hard graft. It's been tough. The club was obviously out of the league for a long time, so the academy was a bit off the required levels to start producing players. So we've worked hard. I think 3 years now I've been there, and we've got some really exciting young players over at Lincoln who have got a chance, and a couple of them have been in the first team squad, and one young man has played this year in League One, which is from where we were 3 years ago. You probably wouldn't have thought it'd happen this soon, so we've done great with that. But yeah, that job at Lincoln has been brilliant for my personal development and trying to bring these young lads on, and one of the hardest things to do, to go from being a youth team player to being a professional, especially with how good the first team is over there. But been a great learning experience. Been the two managers, Danny Cowley and Michael Clapperton, have been fantastic with me, and two top coaches and managers. So to be around them and learn from them has been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. And that's obviously something you'll be looking at starting when you work with Brad Wright with our under-21s.
Yeah, I spoke with Brad this morning. Seems a really bright young coach, and obviously a Gainsborough lad who wants to do well for the young footballers of Gainsborough. And he spoke really well on the phone this morning. Seems really ambitious. I think it's a duty of myself and the football club to give these young lads, the local lads, the best opportunities. Again, they've got to be good enough. It's not a charity, like you've got to earn the right to feature and get in and around the squad. But I think it's a brilliant thing if a local boy can get into the first team for the supporters and the club and the community on the whole. So I'll do everything I can to create the opportunities. If there are some talented young players, which I think there are a few from what I hear, and I'll be getting across there to watch them train and play in the next week or so. If there's a lad who's good enough, or a few boys that's good enough, they'll definitely get their opportunities with me as the coach.
That's brilliant to hear. Obviously, in the background, we've got the facilities we're set up to really grow that side of things and provide the opportunities. It's just a case now of having that pathway.
Yeah, Roses is an excellent facility for the young players to be around, and the Lincoln schoolboys have been using that recently, and yeah, it gives Gainsborough a chance to develop some of their own players. And I know there's some good footballers from over that part of the country, so let's tap into that and see what there is, and give them the pathway. And yeah, what a brilliant achievement that would be by everyone if a young lad could get into the squad and play regularly.
Absolutely, something to look forward to again. Now, we talked about family, 2 jobs, but you've got the Gainsborough one. It's going to be very much spinning plates. How are you going to go about combining all the different roles?
Yeah, I'll be busy, but it's football. Like, never feels like a job really, and all the parts of it. The chairman at Gainsborough, my boss over at Lincoln, the boss at Nottingham Trent, they see the benefits for everybody involved, and myself, and they've been really fair, and they've been excellent with me on how my working week will look, so that everyone gets the best of me and my abilities and my time. So they've been great. It sounds like there's a lot on, but I think it's just going to be enjoyable, and maybe there's different bits that will be all part of one at Gainsborough as we go along. And yeah, going to be busy. Might be out of the house a little bit, but as long as I'm back for bedtime, everyone's happy, I think.
Bonus. That's brilliant. So, if you have to sum up what you'll bring to the club, what can you pinpoint it as?
I think anybody that played with me along the way, and probably anyone that I've coached to this point, like there'll be pretty much a guarantee of some enthusiasm and energy, well, a lot of enthusiasm and energy. And I think that was a big part of me having a professional career as a player. And I'll be positive. I've got plenty of playing experience. I have lived what these players will be going through and the ups and downs of it all. And I'm not too long away from where I retired and being in the dressing room. So I think I'll have plenty of empathy for the lads, and I just will give them the best chance to perform. That's my role, is to obviously to win, but manage each individual and give them the best chance to flourish and kick on in their careers and perform at their highest levels. It's definitely an up and down career being a footballer at any level, and there's some lows along the way, but it's my job to really manage that, keep people in a positive frame of mind, and I will set the standard every training session, every game. I'll come bouncing into the building wanting to work, because I absolutely love coaching, love football. It's all I've ever known from the age of about 8. So they're the things that I can guarantee what I'll be bringing to the role, the players and the football club.
Looking forward to seeing that. So what do you know then about the league, particularly Northern Premier League?
Yeah, so I've watched a lot of games in the last few years. There's a few clubs local to me or localish to me in Nottingham, and ex-teammates, a few boys from the university that have gone out to a few clubs in Nottingham. I've been and watched plenty of football at this level. I've got a good idea of the style of the majority of the league. Like that, there'll be some that play a little bit different, but the majority of what I've seen is a certain style of play with a few tweaks. So I'm well aware of what I'm going into. A lot of the lads are lads that I've played against, boys that have maybe dropped down a league or two in the last few years. So I know plenty of the players, know a fair few of the managers as well. So I think I've got decent knowledge. I'll be watching loads of games, doing plenty of research over the coming weeks and months. But yeah, I think I've got a reasonable knowledge and one that I'll want to keep growing over the short term, ready to be all prepared for the new season.
Excellent. So, turning from the league to what's about the community. I know when we spoke the other day, you said about a not so fond memory in terms of time at Tamworth.
Yeah, so that was my last game of football. That was where my playing career died against Gainsborough Trinity. I came on a sub actually. I didn't do too bad on the day, but yeah, I knew my time was up, and it was time for a new challenge. But yeah, Gainsborough beat us that day. I think we both got relegated on that day, so we'll move on quickly from that one. But I remember playing. It would have been 2009, 2010. We played Gainsborough in the FA Cup for whoever I was playing for at the time. Brian Little was the manager. I think it was a replay where we played at Gainsborough under the lights. I just remember coming away thinking, what a proper atmosphere, proper pitch, proper stadium, really good football environment. I came away really impressed. A manager did try to take me there at one point as a player, and learned a little bit more about the club at that point and what the situation was at the time. But yeah, it really good football club. Deserves to be, is set up to be in the league above the one it's in at the minute, in my opinion, at the least. And obviously that's part of the process that we're going into. But yeah, know a fair bit about it. I had a mixed experience as a player playing there, but I just remember coming away that night thinking that's a proper football club with proper fans and a really good setup. I think we won on that night, but yeah, 1 win, 1 loss to this point.
Plenty more wins to come, hopefully.
I hope so, yeah.
So, what can supporters expect from our team? You've touched on it already a little bit about the energy and the enthusiasm. But what else?
Well, I think we'll be a young squad. So, and I'm a young coach, young manager. So we won't have loads of experience going into it. So we've got to make up for that in other ways. So we'll be a front foot, energetic, enthusiastic football team, full of young players with ambition, wanting to establish themselves at this level and perform well for Gainsborough, but wanting to move on in their careers. And I think if you can create that hunger within the group, get a bit of a common goal that we want to do really well for Gainsborough Trinity, but for them individually, they want to kick on in their football careers. I think if you get that common goal, it can be really, really powerful, and something that brings people together and hopefully will give us the edge. But I think football fans have not been allowed in the building for a long while, and I want to set. I'm a football fan myself, and I want to set a team up that the fans will really enjoy, really engage with. Something that a product that they can really throw everything into and see a bit of endeavour and commitment, all the things that fans want, and that's got to be the bare minimum from what we put on a Saturday afternoon and a Tuesday evening. Yeah, the team's going to be definitely a front foot, bit of a rock and roll football team. Hopefully, if we can get things moving in the right direction. And I think all I will always ask is that the opposition have known they've been in a game, and there'll be mistakes along the way and errors and technical bits that go wrong, but commitment, concentration, and finding that edge to want to win, that is in the power of the players and myself to generate that every time we go out with the badge on our chest. And hopefully we can get a group of players together that really want to do that.
As a faithful, that's all the Trinity faithful have always wanted. As a bare minimum, to see that effort, that commitment there. When players are playing, they're wearing the shirt with pride, and they go out there. If they give 100%, results might not go our way, but as long as they can see the effort, they've always been happy with that. But it's almost extending that. Taking it on.
No, it's the way it should be, Rob, in my opinion, and it's a minimum requirement. It's the controllable things for the players that they can choose to play at that intensity and run as hard as that. And I just think football is more enjoyable when you play like that. If you get on the front foot and get the bit between your teeth, like you'll enjoy the game a lot more. You'll feature more. You'll have more success. So when you're not quite at it or at your best, it can be a struggle sometimes. So let's fill the squad with loads of players that want to play like that and want to show a love for football, and hopefully the fans will really enjoy the product that we can put out for them.
Brilliant. Can you now outline your short-term and longer-term plans at the football club?
Yes, short-term. Speak with all the current players. Spoke with a fair few today. They've all been absolutely superb on the phone. I will meet up with them very soon. Get to know Brad Wright and the under-21s and under-18s to see what players there are potentially coming through at Gainsborough. And then the recruitment drive to create a competitive group to go into next season. I think football is going to look pretty different from what we maybe knew it was with how clubs will be off the back of how the world has been. So we've got to concentrate on ourselves, create a really competitive group to go into that division, win some football matches, get Gainsborough back on the front foot as a football club, and lay some foundations for it to kick on in the future.
That's almost the challenge, isn't it? Trying to hit the ground running, pick up the first couple of wins and everything settles down. Don't pick up those first couple of wins and then the pressure starts to mount up, and that's what you want to avoid if at all possible.
Yeah, the young group with their enthusiasm for life and for football, hopefully that they would have been deprived of playing some football as well, so they'll be desperate to get going again. And if we can bring it all together through pre-season, be in a really good place for the start of the campaign, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so 2 very strange seasons, a null and void season, followed by the curtailment. It has put a massive, great big gap in football, and it almost seems like 2 years have gone missing. Is that something that we can harness to good effect, do you think, and really sort of ramp up in the community what we do, really just grow because of that? You don't miss something when it's not there, but when it's there, it starts to become something that you want to be a part of and really get behind.
I think it's a massive part of people's lives, the players, the staff, but more importantly the supporters, and people live for Saturday at 3 o'clock. It's huge, and they've been watching it since they were a kid, and the Trinity fans would have been going for many years, I'm sure. And I think we can harness that, and the positivity of being back watching the game with your mates, and that's where I'm coming from with putting out a team for the supporters, like for something that they can really enjoy and buy into. Football, yeah, the landscape of the Northern Premier League, we don't really know what it's going to look like. We don't know what situation a lot of clubs are going to be in. So I think it's important we just concentrate on ourselves during this recruitment drive, make sure we get the right players and the right people in the squad, and then we'll worry about, or not worry about too much, the opposition when it's time to play against them. So I'm sure it will have altered the landscape a little bit in this league, but let's concentrate on us for the next few months and see where we are come early August.